Welcome to Worth the War. I'm so excited to have Alyssa Peoples here today. She is from a wonderful organization, Repair, Not Repeat. And what's really great about having her here is that she was one of the first people that I ever met on Instagram, which has turned out to be such a warm and great community of people who have these ideas about love and relationship. And so many of them are just striving for healthier goals in this area, and Alyssa is definitely one. And she's added somebody new to her life since I spoke to her last, and his name is Tim, and that's her husband. And together they have started this organization, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Alyssa, so you can explain to us what your name actually means.
And it just hit us one day, if you are trying to get out of a toxic relationship, if you're trying to find a healthy relationship, if you're trying to look at the past that you've lived and your childhood that might have been in a broken home that you found to be toxic, there's this idea of repairing and breaking generational curses that feels so out of our depth. You are literally blazing brand new trails. And a lot of times it feels isolating and it feels alone, but that can't be further from the case. There are so many of us, especially like Kimmy's saying, on Instagram that we found ways to build these great communities. And this idea of this isn't a area in a community to just complain in. This isn't, commiserating and misery loves company. It's, well, what are those positive steps and what do we need to do to repair, which looks completely different for everybody. And, there's not this one path to healing. There's a lot of paths to healing, and healing is just one part of growing and kind of being this idea of reborn and starting over after a bad relationship or after an upbringing that, doesn't exemplify what you want out of your life, but you get to choose that. We just have to repair it if we choose to not repeat it.
So tell us what brought you to doing this.
I now have an amazing 4-year-old going on probably 13. But when he was about 3 months old, I finally had enough. I was in an abusive relationship. It was mentally abusive. It was physically abusive. And I had tried to leave numerous times. And I always like to let people know that because we know there's statistics. It takes about 7 times to get out. I ended up leaving with a 3-month-old son, leaving 3 stepchildren behind whom I cared for, whom I felt like I was the protector of, just like I was for my son. And I just got to the point where I was saying and making excuses for myself that I no longer could say to the children. It didn't make sense. Daddy reacted that way because he loves you so much. No, I started to unveil that for myself. Like, he's not doing these things because he loves you. When you stop and really think about it and unpack it, you start to remind yourself, like, that's not what this looks like. But we try so hard to make it look like that and to try to see what we want to see in it. I couldn't lie to the kids anymore. And it became that point of, I thought that having the child would fix the relationship. I felt like once I had that little boy, everything was going to change.